what was the median?
4.
4. What's the range? Max. Min. Q1. Q3. Does anyone need me to go over that?
No.
No. Cool. All right, so your min, remember you put a dot at your min, which is 1, a dot at your max, which is 7, and then we use these lines. So my Q1 is 2, so this is a line. My median is 4, and then my Q3 is 5. So it should look something like this. Does everyone have that?
Yeah.
Beautiful. So circle how you feel. If you got it, circle yes. Maybe you needed a little help. No means I maybe was absent and I don't get it. So today's lesson is pretty short, sweet, to the point. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be learning outliers, and just looking at a box plot and interpreting what it's telling us. So the first thing I want you to do is you're going to that purple booklet from yesterday, and you're going to where it says overview and vocabulary. So right here, so where it says overview and vocabulary, and it says box plot, and you're just filling in the blanks. Mm-hmm. Let's pick it up.
Is this like 2
Yeah. So this is, we're just going over the basics of this. So now we're going to be looking at box plots and deriving information out of them. So it's used to tell us how spread out the values are, and we use the median to show the center of the data. And the interquartile range shows us how spread out the data is. So what's this point called? Right here? Minimum? What about this right here, this line? Q1, what's that middle one? Median, Q3, and max. So this is in your purple packet on the last page. Yeah, same packet. That's going to be your notes probably for the next 2 units. They're all going to be in the same place. So now we talked about it a little bit yesterday, but what are each of these increments? What % of your data are each of these increments? If they're in quartiles, 25%. So this is 25% of my data. This is 25%. This is 25%. And so is this part. So it's just the data broken up into quarters or 25%. Make sure you make that, put that in your notes. It's where it says overview and vocabulary. Just putting it right on top of that. Here are some formulas we're going to be learning. So right underneath, we're going to do 2 formulas, and they'll make sense in a little bit. First one we learned yesterday was interquartile range. What was that?
Q3 minus Q.
Good. Q3 minus Q1. You're given that on your formula. What you're not given is this next one. So today we're going to be finding outliers, which means like a number that's significantly lower or significantly higher than the rest of your data. So there's 2 formulas we use to find outliers. The first one looks like this, and it'll make more sense in a second. It's Q3 plus 1.5 times your IQR. Mm-hmm. And so we're finding outliers. There's a big outlier and small outlier. So that's to find big outliers. This is to find small outliers. And so these formulas are not given to you. These are ones you're going to have to memorize. Just like if the class average was like a 60, right? If y'all like together got a 60 and Ryan got 100, he would be an outlier. He would be a larger outlier because his score was way larger than the other ones. If Nathan got a 0, his would be a small outlier because it's way smaller than the rest of the data. So this is to find large outliers. These are to find small outliers. And it will make more sense in a second. Does everyone have that down? That's just your notes for today. For which one? So this is just to find your outliers. I'm going to start with that actually. So we'll start, so this makes more sense. I just want you to write the formulas down. Times IQR, yeah. And so I want you to go to that packet that you took right here. We're going to start with the last page where it says outliers. We're going to start with just looking at outliers. We'll start with the harder part first. So an outlier, what is an outlier? An outlier is a number significantly larger or smaller than the rest of your data. And so in statistics, a lot of you, no matter what, like I was a psychology major, right, in college, like I didn't study to be a teacher. But I studied psychology. I had to, in order to be that major, I had to take statistics. If you want to go into anything with science, anything basically, you need that statistics class, which is basically the next 2 units. Why? Is because you need to figure out, okay, if I'm going to say something, if I'm going to say like this number is an outlier, you need to prove it. And so that's what statistics is about. It's about like proving what you're trying to say. So the steps to finding an outlier are first we determine the Q3 and Q1, or Q1 and Q3. So first we need to find that. I would recommend using your calculator so it saves you some time. Even if you don't like using it, just for outlier's sake, it will save you some time. So first we find the Q3 and Q1. Then we find the interquartile range, which you guys told me was Q3 minus Q1. Then we multiply the IQR by 1.5. It's just all part of that formula. To find the lower limit, we subtract Q1 minus the answer that we got. And the upper one is Q3 plus the answer that we got. And it looks like a lot. It's a lot of like little tiny things, but the more you practice it, it will just come a little bit more natural. Does everyone have this down? Okay, I'll give you another minute. And so when you're looking at the list of numbers, you guys can see right below it says 2, 1, 9, 39, 12, 5, 3, 4, and 7. Are there any numbers that are way bigger or way smaller than the other numbers? Which one? So 39, you said? So we could see that 39 is way bigger than the other data, right? 1 is not way smaller because you can see there's 2, 3, 4, so it's not that much smaller. But 39 is way bigger than those other numbers. Now, although we'll say it's an outlier, now we need to prove it. So to do that, what you do is you go, okay, I need to find, since it's bigger than all the numbers, I know I'm going to be using the formula that's Q3, so this one. I know I'm going to use the large outliers formula. So to find if there's a large outliers formula, I do Q3 plus 1.5 times your IQR. To do that, you need to find Q3 and your IQR. So type those into your calculator. And so if you were here, or if maybe you've been doing by hand and you don't remember how to put in your calculator, remember you press data, you delete everything in it, and then you press enter after writing each number in. So 2, enter, 1, enter, 39, enter, and you don't need to put it in order. So when you're doing it in your calculator, you do not need to write it in order. So you do that extra step. Yeah. So you just, all you do is find your Q3 and your Q1. So do it that. Take in your numbers. So type all those in. And then press second. So once you typed in all your data, you press second, that green button in data again. And then press enter 5 times. Or sorry, 4 times. Once you do that, you'll get a list, and all we need for this one right now is Q1 and Q3. What did you guys end up getting for Q1 and Q3? 6 for Q1? What's Q3? 10. So even though you could do that by hand, it's more likely you're going to make mistakes, so you don't want to go through that. So to find if there's a big outlier, because we're trying to prove that 39 is a big outlier, I take my Q3, so what's your Q3? 10 plus 1.5 times your IQR, so that's 10 minus 6. What's 10 minus 6? 4. And you put that right into your calculator. So put that right in. 10 plus 1.5 times, make sure you put those parentheses. Oh, so you can figure it out. And you're going to use Q3 if you want, but Q1, Q3, and you subtract them to get your I didn't get that for my Q1 and Q3. Did anyone else get something for their Q1 and Q3? Did anyone do it in their calculator to get something different? Shamaji, what did you end up getting? What was your Q1? You can still do second. Second data. It was just a Q1. Did you guys get 2.5? Yeah. What did you say? 2.5 is your Q1. 8.5 is your Q3, which means that if you got what? 2.5 and 10.5, my bad. So if you didn't get that, that means you probably missed a number in there. So you might want to check that out. Because I got 2.5 and 10.5. So if you didn't get that, because Tramaje got that once you typed it in too, that's what I have on my answer key. So that means you may have just missed one. And so when I do this, what is my IQR? What's 10.5 minus 2.5? That's 8. So your IQR is 8. And then what's your Q3 here? What do we get? Yeah, 10.5. So now you're putting this into your calculator. What number do you end up getting? What is it? Oh. 22.5, that's what I got. So you just put that right in to look like this, and you get 22.5. Since it's my large outlier, that means anything larger than this number is an outlier. So is 39, that one we thought was an outlier, is that larger than this number right here? Yes. Yes, so this is an outlier because it's larger than this number right here. So those numbers are your baseline. So this tells you, this formula gives you anything bigger than this is an outlier. Not when you're using a calculator, you don't have to. Does that make sense? Okay, let's try another one. So let's look at the next one. Which number seems like it might be a 21, right? So 21 seems out of place. Is that bigger or smaller than the rest of our data? Bigger. So I'm going to be using the same formula. So first, go through your data, put in all your numbers, and figure out what your Q1 and your Q3 are. And then that will help you figure out your IQR. Try and make sure you're correct. Do the next one. And if you, to clear it out, you don't click clear, click delete. You click the button that says delete in order to clear out the data. Did y'all get it yet?
The first one is 6.
Mm-hmm. Are you doing yours by hand or on a calculator?
By hand.
You're doing yours by hand. So you can still do it by hand.
And the second one is 10.
Same thing you did yesterday. It just takes less time. But you did it all on that paper. You could do it by hand. It just takes a little longer. And then what's your IQR? 4. Everyone get that part?
Yeah.
And so since 21's a big number, I'm using this formula. Well, it's 1.5 times IQR. So what was your Q3? 10. So I'm doing 10 plus 1.5 times 4. So that was my IQR. What do you get? 16? Are any of those numbers bigger than 16?
No.
Any of these? Which one?
21.
21. So that is an outlier because it's bigger than 16. That's what that stands for. Does that make sense? Okay, let's try another one. So, it was 16, and so since it was an outlier, so you're gonna do this on the back, or no, let's try this one. This one's right across it from me. It says if you have a data, and now they're giving you the IQR and Q3, so this is easy. You don't have to put it in the chat. So if you have a data set, and if they're giving you the IQR, and they're giving you Q3, is 16 considered an outlier? They want to know if 16 would be an outlier. So 16 is bigger than all that. So I would use the big outlier formula, right? 1.5 times IQR. What did they say the quartile 3 was?
8.
And what's your IQR?
4.
And what number do you end up getting? What is it? 16? I think it ends up being 14. When you put that in 8 plus, make sure you put the parentheses. Did anyone else get 14? You got it? Okay. So you end up getting 14 when you put that right into your calculator. Is 16 bigger than 14? Yeah. Yep, so it would be an outlier. Let's try the next one. They're giving me Q1, so now we're dealing with the small outliers. So if Q1 is 2 and the IQR is 8, they want to know if -3 is an outlier. So let's use that formula. 2 minus is a small outlier. 1.5, and what's our IQR? 8. Put that in your calculator. What do you end up getting? -10. Now, is -3 smaller? Is it the small one? Is it smaller than -10? No. So it would not be an outlier. Does that make sense? Okay. You guys try the next two on your own. See if you can try and figure out, are they outliers or are they not outliers? Does everyone get the formula and all that? Yeah. That's the only formula, honestly, that you have to memorize in entire algebra 1. So, it's not too bad. Cool. So, what are each of these things, each of these increments, what percentage of your data are they? 25%, right? So that's what this is about. So this is a delta math that you'll have to do. So find the 5-number summary. What's the minimum reading this? 2, right? Because that's where the dot is. It's in that packet, the second page. It says analyzing thought. What's the first quartile? Right here. 3. A lot of people are having trouble with delta math figuring out what it's going by. So just make sure you kind of fill in the blanks. So this is 3. What's your median? 4.5. So that's between 4 and 5. So 4.5. What's your third quartile? 7. And then what's your max? Yeah. So if you got yesterday's lesson, that's what I'm saying. Like this will be. What's inner quartile range? It's 7 minus 3, right? Q3 minus Q1, which ends up getting you 4. Perfect. The last part this is like the whole lesson. What percent of the numbers are located between each pair of numbers? So the first one's saying 3 to 4.5. So they're talking about from here 3 to 4.5. What percent of data is this right there? 25%. Yep. Each interval is 25. What about 4.5 to 12? So here, I'll use red. Here to 12. These two.
So 75.
But not including the green.
Oh,
Just the red.
everything 25, isn't it?
Yep, so it's 25 plus another 25. 50.
Oh.
50%. So it would be, because it's two of them. What about between, all right, so that 3 and 12. So here to here.
This on Delta Metro?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. No, this last part.
75. Yeah, this part is. Oh, like this part.
Yeah.
It's just each from here to here is 25. So there's 3 25s. Even though it looks like that's a lot more, that's just a larger spread of data. That means most of the scores or whatever this has to do with or between here.
And the last one, 100.
75. 75.
75. Yeah. What was 4.5 and 12?
150.
Right here. 1, 2. I think we did that one earlier. This one's 75.
I think it would come like the first one too.
What?
I think it would come the first two.
For this one right here, 4.5 to 12, they're talking about. So like when it says 4.5 to 12, they're talking about they're starting here. So from, and then here's 12, here's my ending. How many increments is that? 1, 2. So each one's 25%, so it'd be 50% altogether. It's easier than it. I think you're just confused because the Outliers was a little bit harder. This is like really easy. So let's try another one together. So what is the minimum? 3. What's your first quartile? 9. Is right here.
Oh, yeah.
That's where the line is. Yeah. What's your median?
10.
Your Q3?
15.
Mm-hmm. Make sure they're going to say like upper quartile. If they say upper quartile in Delta Math, it means third quartile. If they say lower quartile, they sometimes refer to it like that. That's your Q1. And then max. Beautiful. What's your interquartile range?
Wait, what's your Q3 minus Q1?
Yeah. And then what percent? Okay, let's try this. 3 to 15. So I'm going, starting at 3, here's this one, to 15. So right here. How many increments are there? 1, 2,
3,
3, 75%. Let's do this one. 15 and 20.
25.
So 15 and 20 is from here to here. That's only one increment, so it'd be 25. 9 and 15.
50.
And 9 and 20. It's just like each one. So here to here is 25. Here to here is 25. Here to here is 25. So 25 plus 25 plus 25 is 75.
It's changed. On Delta Math, I went back to it. So,
Yeah. This is what it's going to be like for
for
the
all the lines,
Yeah, from one line to the next line is 25%. Do you guys want to try a few more together? Okay, let's go to this next worksheet right
can I do my Delta Math?
here. Yeah. All right. What percent? So I'm on reading and analyzing. I think it's right. It's the page right in the back of it or front of it. It's like the flip it the back over. What percent is between 3 and 12? So here's 3. Here's 12. What percent of the data is that? 1, 2, 3, 75%. Which quartile does 10 lie in? What quartile is 10 in? It's in this one. What quartile is that? Look, so it's asking which quartile would the 10 lie in? What quartile is this one? 1. What's this one? 2.
Third.
3. Yep. Where does 12.5 lie? 12.5 is right here. What quartile is that?
3, 4.
4, right? This little guy's 4. What percent is 3 to 9? So here, I'll use a different color. Here to here, what percent?
25. Oh, no, 75.
So here to here is 25, here to here is 50. What percent lies above the median? Here's the median. What percent is left? 25 and then another 25. 50. That makes sense, right? Median's your middle, so it's 50%. Okay. Why don't you guys try the next two on your own, and then once you're done, you can get started on your Delta Math. Your Delta Math looks like this, and I'll put it in for strategies again if you want, so if you want to bring that grade up. And so, let's see it.